I think it would be very useful an exercise, which nobody will ever actually do, to one day as an actor go and see how an edit actually works. I know you're meant to act as if it's real. You're always looking for realness, which I understand, but it's not real. I mean, it's an aspiration for realness, but for example, it still depends on where the lens is, and the lens doesn't exist in real life. You know, so it's not real, and it's a constructed real. I mean, I know I'm going to get very philosophical in all the wrong ways, but I think that stuff is worth learning how to do, because it gives the filmmaker and the editor particularly options to modulate your performance to make your performance better. And I know there's a sort of school of thought which is it doesn't matter. It's just an abstract sense of realness, but it honestly isn't. I mean, it's and then of course when you see somebody like Gary who's just unbelievably good at it, he totally never feels like he knows where the camera is, and he totally knows where the camera is, and he knows where the edit is, and he knows when he's turning around you're going to edit differently. I don't think of my career as successful. I have to say. I think it's vaguely shapeless, and you get little ups and downs, and something good turns up and something not good turns up. You know, and then you make a mistake, and then you know. So I'm not sure it's that clever not to have an agent, for example. You know, it's just. But I mean, even if you're unbelievably good, you still have to be unbelievably lucky. You know, and I'm not just saying that to try and make people who don't get enough work feel better. I mean, it's just true. You know, like for example with casting, it's not just that I have in my head a huge number of great actors that I've met in my life that I'm saying, I need to get that one, I need to get that one, I need to get that one. That actor has to be available, has to appear in the radar at exactly the right moment, for exactly the moment I've got some work, when I need exactly, you know, I mean, the odds, it's just weird like that. One of the things that I learned in television is what you're meant to do as a guest is you're sort of meant to, and take this with it's a little bit more complicated, but you sort of have to go into it with as much authority as if it's your program, without being a pain in the neck. And particularly if it's a big guest part, you have to imagine that it's your program and you're trying to fight against the leads. And again, but not being a pain in the neck at the same time. So we've made a lot of conscious effort, for example, to give parts to people with enough personality that you could believe they could be in another show and it would be their show. It's that sort of thing. And I think what you don't want to be is just the cipher that comes in to do the thing that the lead actor has to. Right. You have to believe that person has got equal power. Well, I saw Jack Lowden was interviewed. He was asked about my direction, and he said, Saul doesn't really tell us what to do, but he tells us if we're shit. so again, I don't like, if they don't need the help, I give them a lot of space. I mean, I would say the one thing I learned is different actors need enormously different amounts of interaction from the director. So I'm deeply inconsistent in how I direct, if you know what I mean. I mean, actually, back to Claire Foy. I remember directing Claire Foy did a scene. First scene I'd done with her. I remember thinking, I'll give her some notes just to make sure she knows I'm awake. And I came in, give her some notes. She looked at me, you know, went away, shot marginally worse. And then I more or less just watched what she did. When you start having actors who don't care about giving themselves the space to get the work good, is really terrible. That's no fun. And I've also certainly worked with actors who have just fallen out of love with the craft. And again, that's really, you want them to bring stuff to you, because you can't just force them to do things. You want that they have stuff that they can, again, without being annoying about it, but it's just, they own the character. It's them, it doesn't matter what's written on the page. It is now them. and I want to feed off that in a properly vampiric way. But but I want every bit of that blood, regardless of everything. You sort of never want to get involved with that. Either losing interest in what you're doing, or the bitterness about how terrible the process may or may not be. And it is sometimes terrible, and production companies sometimes do terrible things, and it can be quite painful and everything. But in the end, I mean, I know everyone has told you this. It's just like, it's an unbelievably fun thing. You're just making things up, and these people there that are helping you make things up, and that's the bit. I mean, I can really, as you can hear from my excellent relationship with my ex-agent, I really the industry. I don't care. I really love that bit when you're just making stuff. That thing didn't exist yesterday, and now you're making it, and these actors brought this amazing weird stuff to it, and you didn't know anything about what they were going to do. That's great. On a sort of funny anecdote about trust, I remember I shot something where we shot a big complicated bike chase for a film Dread, which was the sort of sci-fi thing we shot in South Africa, and we did it all with the stunt people first, and then we did it with the actor on a green screen sort of thing, and which is causes a very humiliating feeling, because you're feeling that the stunt man has done it all correct, and that we're just having a laugh kind of thing, and the actor. The actor got extremely annoyed and threw down his helmet and shouted, "You're making me look like a fucking monkey," and stormed off to watch it, and watched it on the monitor, and looked at it and went, "Yeah, actually looks all right." and what's important about that story is it's such a fundamental misunderstanding of the relationship between us and the actor. We are desperate for the actor to look good in the thing, and the idea that we'd make them look like a monkey is, and I don't care that he looks like a monkey, but I don't want him to look like a monkey from, I'm not doing it for him. But it's just that I think it's that level. That's a big misunderstanding. We're trying to do everything to make, so when we're going again for a different technical reason and things like that, it's not against the actor. It's for the actor. It's for the project. It's all, we want you to be great. Some actors, for example, can deal with technical like timings of camera moves and complicated coverage and choreography. Some can't, and you have to know what they can and can't do. And that's not really an interaction you share with them, but fine well that person, for example, scenes that you need coverage for, because for example, such and such is not good at continuity, or such, so there's a lot of stuff that isn't necessary. I wouldn't necessarily share with the actor, but I'm responding to how they do perform. And for example, Roz, who plays Louisa, is very loose. She's very like alive, but in a way that isn't super helpful for continuity, quite honestly. But I don't think I'd want to stop her doing things. So you work around them. But again, once you have cast them, they own that character. So, and I think I find that very important. So you can't sort of change how they do it. You have already made the decision, and you leave them to do stuff. I worked early on with a famous cameraman called Brian Tufano, who shot Trainspotting and Billy Elliot and Quadrophenia. He was a sort of legendary guy, and he instilled this thing in me, which is, you don't ever make your life easy for yourself. Don't ever just do the way you can just do it and it'll be fine. You have to add one more thing. So and again, that goes to the actors as well. You add something, because you have to assume that nobody wants to watch your rotten television program unless you really, you're there to sell that thing. It's not, you can't just say it's so automatically brilliant that you're going to love it. Assume they don't like it. assume what you're shooting is you've done the most boring thing. It's the most boring performance. It's always a challenge. They've got plenty of other things to watch.